Greetings and welcome. As you come on in, please type a 1 in the chat box if you can see me and hear me. Greetings and welcome to SEM Mondays Live, my weekly open Q&A show here on YouTube. I've really been looking forward to our time together today, especially since last Monday, at least here in the U.S., we were celebrating Memorial Day. And seems like it has been longer than 2 weeks since we have been together. So welcome as you come on in. Please open up the chat box and type a 6 or type a 1 or type a 6/1 so I know you can see me or hear me. Or even better yet, launch some emojis. I absolutely love seeing the emojis. It shows up on my screen different than yours, and it's always really, really cool. So before I go any further, my name is Stephen Pollitt. I'm the creator of Source Energy Medicine, and really feel so honored and blessed to have had the opportunity to have shared Source Energy Medicine since 2005. And gosh, I have no idea where all those years have gone for the most part. And yet it's pretty neat. I mean, have had other careers, and yet 15 years of doing the same thing and remaining. I'm probably more passionate today than ever before, and in part because of the epidemic that we're all experiencing, and in part because each person who finds Source Energy Medicine gives me great hope for our future. Gives me great hope that as I heal myself, as you heal yourself, we're actually transforming our consciousness, which ultimately leads to creating a shift in global human consciousness. And you know, it's to me a very cool side benefit to exploring Source Energy Medicine. And if you don't know about energy levels, there are some videos on our YouTube channel where I talk about the importance of energy levels and understanding energy levels. If you understand energy levels, then you understand a whole lot about dis-ease and illness and imbalance, as well as vibrant well-being, health, vitality, and you know, the calibration of each aspect of our being affects that aspect, and it, to a large degree, determines what I experience in each of those aspects. So I have some questions that have come in over these last couple of weeks, and Milo and I compare notes, and there are a bunch of questions that came in that are all very related. And more often than not, if you're new to SEM Mondays, what I try and do is answer groups of questions. Because if a lot of people are asking them, then it's important, and probably there are a lot of other people who are curious but haven't asked yet. So I don't always say, you know, this is an email from Harry, and Harry asks, and then I supply the answer or offer the answer. So you do kind of have to pay attention, because this question came in, and there were probably a dozen others that were very similar, and yet my answer is going to cover all of them. So, and it has to do with, can I use Source Energy Medicine in a humidifier or an espresso machine, or in making soup or juicing or making tea? And so there's if you understand this very basic principle, it's basic, and yet it's wide-reaching. So in Source Energy Medicine, and making Source Energy Medicine, and drinking Source Energy Medicine, if you have a bottle that has a Source Energy Medicine charging label on that, and then you take that bottle and you pour that water into something else, right, another container, that other container has to have what we call a blank charging label. And it's a blank charging label that actually stabilizes and protects that water from being altered in any way. So a lot of humidifiers, a lot of espresso machines have a clear water reservoir. So you could put a blank charging label on that clear reservoir, and then you can fill that clear reservoir with any Source Energy Medicine that you like, even combinations of Source Energy Medicine, to then do whatever it is that that device is going to do. So here's the thing, here's kind of the catch. if it's a humidifier, that water goes from that clear reservoir and then it goes through the rest of the machine and then out into the atmosphere, right, or the air in your home, or wherever the humidifier is. So once the water leaves that reservoir, there's really nothing to protect that water, right? There's nothing to protect that water from possible interference. Same is true if you take source energy medicine, pour it into your tea kettle, put the tea kettle on the stove and turn it on. There's nothing to protect that water. Now, to me, it's not that big of an issue, because if you've already watched the how to take source energy medicine video, you understand that the daily suggested minimum amount of whatever source energy medicine protocol you're following should be consumed, ideally, only as source energy medicine, right? Don't put anything into it and don't use it to do anything, right? Don't use that to make tea and then consider that as part of your daily minimum. Beyond your daily minimum, by that I mean, if you look at the sample protocol version 1, in the first step, there are 3 source energy medicines. They're all fusions, which means 8 ounces of each of those. 8 times 3 is 24, so those 24 ounces should be just as source energy medicine. Don't put anything in them. Nothing, which includes everything, right? So it should be just good quality water that has, from a bottle, appropriate bottle that has a source energy medicine charging label on it. Beyond that, you could do anything that you want, because you've already had your daily minimum, right? You could do whatever you want, and there's much less concern about, is the water that's going into my humidifier then maybe being altered by the electronics or the technology or something like that. An insider's tip is you can put more blank charging labels on that humidifier, especially if it's a big humidifier, to actually help to, you'd have to be able to muscle test or dowse to be able to check the efficacy of it, to see if source energy medicine is going in, is source energy medicine coming out? Is it going in 100%, or is it coming out 100%? And, in our fundamentals, source energy medicine fundamentals workshops, we talk about this in much greater depth and detail, and there are some further insider hacks and tips and tools, right? These ways that we can use source energy medicine technology far beyond applying charging labels to water bottles, using them topically, using them to transform, balance, and restore a house or a piece of property or a large body of water, things like that. But I wanted to share, my intention with SEM Mondays is to keep everything very, very, very basic, and yet, that's definitely a more than a basic conversation, right? More than a basic topic. And yet I want to keep it at that. And then if you're interested in learning more, then you will definitely learn much. You'll learn more techniques, more tools, more processes for being able to use our technology in ways that I really, really believe are infinite in terms of the potential application. So I think it's pretty cool, to think about how many different ways we could use source energy medicine technology. I think it's amazing what we can do with just making source energy medicines and drinking them. And yet that's, kind of scratching the surface, right? So if this is of interest to you, in Lynn McTaggart's book, The Field, Lynn, there's a chapter where Lynn cites a research project that was being done to scientifically validate homeopathy. And some of the data wasn't making sense. So when they broke it all down, tried to figure out what was going wrong with some of the data, it was not fitting everything else. They were able to trace it back to the technician. The technician who was actually doing the testing was a very diligent, very professional technician, and yet there was something about her vibrationally. I don't think they described it as vibrationally, but they described it as, if I remember correctly, something about her energy that was having a negative effect on the homeopathy. And that's, to me, where the blank charging label is just such a gift. It's such a blessing. It helps to guarantee, it helps to ensure that the efficacy of every source energy medicine remains at 100%. My efficacy tests lasted 10 years. I have some minor ones that have continued probably in 16 years now, but my main efficacy test ended at 10 years. And as long as there was a lid on the top of the bottle, nothing in it other than good quality water, and I really put them through extremes, froze them, sat them in a really hot south-facing window for weeks at a time, and live at 7,000 feet. So our south exposure is completely unobstructed. So something sitting in a south-facing window in summer gets an awful lot of sun, an awful lot of heat. So again, as long as it had a lid on it, I wasn't able to, a lid and a charging label or a blank charging label, I wasn't able to negatively affect the efficacy. If you take water from a bottle that has a source energy medicine charging label on it and you put it into a glass, and that glass does not have a blank charging label, then there's nothing to protect it, and it really depends on the environment that it's in. So I hope that makes sense. And if you are with me here live today and you have a question, please go ahead and type something into the chat. I appreciate the emojis and the kind words. Awesome to have you folks join us here today. And in case you don't know, we'll be segueing into a group energy healing session as a way to continue to support you during this health crisis, during this pandemic. And if you don't know already, there is an aspect of source energy medicine that is an energy healing methodology. It's within source energy medicine. And it came about from my continuing to research ways to be able to help people with source energy medicine faster, more efficiently, more effectively than what our charging labels currently offer, which is still, to me, mind-boggling at times. And yet the energy healing component of source energy medicine is known as the non-material aspect, which simply means there's no material substance, right? It's just energy. And it is definitely the fastest, easiest, most direct way to be able to share source energy medicine with you. And I am doing this during this health crisis specifically to help to support you to achieve and maintain your ideal energy level. Because if you do that, then, so if you don't understand energy levels, I don't want to confuse you, but if at your ideal energy level, pathogens, dis-ease, imbalance, there's too big of a gap between where they calibrate and where you calibrate. And simply through the universal law of cause and effect, there's too big of a discord, there's too big of a gap. The only way to get COVID-19 is to have at least the physical aspect of your body at minimum calibrated at the exact same frequency of COVID-19. So there are some SEM Mondays from March and April where I talked about that in greater detail, and there's other videos on our YouTube channel. So, I think it's important to mention that YouTube is owned by Google. Google and YouTube are the two top search engines in the world. So you can search on Google or you could search on YouTube for source energy medicine, energy levels or calibrated energy levels, or source energy medicine and COVID-19, and appropriate videos will show up. Or source energy medicine, how to make, how to take. And if you ever have trouble finding the video that you're looking for, the information that you're looking for, on most of our pages we have live chat. SourceEnergyMedicine.com, we have live chat. The website where we host the free Source Energy Medicine Quick Start Guide, as well as all of our online courses, has live chat on that as well. And Milo, who worked closely with me, God bless that man, he does most of the live chat. And he is just so gracious and generous, and he really gets source energy medicine, and he's really passionate about helping people to get started or to take their next step with source energy medicine. So this is much more of the appropriate place to ask technical questions about source energy medicine. But if you have questions about platforms or where to find something or how something works or where's the free quick start guide, anything like that, or information about our website, just start a live chat. If live chat's not available, there's a way now that you can still leave a message and one of us will email you and follow up with that. So if you're not familiar with the non-material aspect of source energy medicine, there too videos on our YouTube channel you could watch to learn a lot more detail, a lot more specifics about that work. For time's sake, I'm not explaining it every single Monday, so I think the important things to remember are, especially in this scenario where it looks like I am the facilitator, or I am in the quote-unquote role of the healer, and I don't use that term, but so many people do. And the reason why I don't use that term is because in I believe any way that any of us could ever heal, I am always healing myself. You are always healing yourself. And specifically in this scenario, sure, I'm facilitating a certain process, but it really is more of a helping you to remember something that you know but can't remember. You know, and yet you forgot it. So you are indeed healing yourself. We're going at your pace, your speed, your tempo. And a lot of people ask, like, what can I do to maximize this experience? First thing is honor the process and simply allow, simply receive. Try not to interfere with it, especially if you are a facilitator, if you're an integrative wellness practitioner and you've studied a bunch of different methodologies. Try not to do any of them and just simply allow this, right? Allow this to be experienced. I invite you to think of one goal or one challenge that you would like to experience. And there is massive benefit to re-watching, re-experiencing the energy healing. And I've heard from some people who have watched the SEM Mondays live group energy healing session once or twice a day throughout this entire thing. Each one is different, and yet my intention is the same for all of them. But you could choose a different goal or a different challenge each subsequent time that you watch this. So other things to keep in mind: a minimum of distractions on your end seems to increase the receptivity. So if you're driving or if you're out and about, probably not the best situation, the best environment to receive this work. It doesn't mean that it's not going to land, but I would again, to just honor the process, to honor your healing, set some time aside and quiet yourself. Find a nice quiet room or your meditation spot, and you can fast forward to the point where the session begins. I'll have chanting music playing in the background just so you know that we're still broadcasting, and there's a title slide that'll go up to let folks know that the energy healing session is in progress. And I love that all of source energy medicine, within every aspect of source energy medicine, is completely safe. And if you think about it, it's completely safe because we're simply transforming slow energy to fast energy. And when we do that, we're not fighting, we're not combating, we're not trying to kill or nullify pathogens or the vibrational patterns of pathogens. We're simply transforming darkness into light. And when we do that, there's no possibility of healing reaction, healing crisis, catharsis, zero side effects. The worst thing that can happen is nothing. And I don't ever remember anyone saying like nothing happened. It might not be 100% of what you would hope for, but something always happens. And then to get to the 100%, it's just a matter of playing the what's missing game and getting creative and staying curious and staying open and giving gratitude, giving thanks for the bits that have already transformed, balanced, and restored. All too often, I get questions from people who are really frustrated, sometimes angry, because they've been following source energy medicine for several months, maybe sometimes a year, and a lot of their challenges are completely transformed, balanced, and restored, and there's a couple that there's maybe 80% or 85 or 90%, and the frustration is right the gap, right, the missing piece, which I totally get. However, the way the universe works, if I focus on what's missing, the universe will give me more to miss, right? If I focus on what's lacking, what's missing, what's wrong, that's what the universe gives me, because that's what I'm paying attention to. And, if you use another scenario where maybe I'm only 10% of the way, but rather than focusing on the 90% that has not yet experienced or not yet materialized or manifested for you, by focusing on that 10% with gratitude, that's what the universe is going to give you more of that, more to be grateful for. So there too, cause and effect, right? In the first scenario, the cause is what's missing, what's lacking, what I'm wanting, what I desire. And then if you add the anger or frustration to it, increased emotion absolutely is like adding fuel to a lit fire. And it works both with fast energy emotions or positive emotions, or slow energy emotions or negative emotions. So the gratitude example, if I can get seriously grateful, embody that gratitude, feel it, sense it, use all of my senses, then more of that, right? That's the cause, and then the effect will be more to be grateful for. So, so I a lot of folks have been asking, do I accept healing requests? And I absolutely do, and yet it's not essential. Some people believe that if they email me or type it into the chat, that it has a greater likelihood of it materializing, right? Sometimes speaking your want, speaking your goal, speaking your challenge, where there is listening can be empowering. Keep in mind, this is YouTube, open platform, totally public. YouTube warns you about, that the chat is public and open, so use caution when sharing. And if you are working on, or your goal is something that is sensitive and you don't want to type it into a public place, you could always email me. And so whether we write it, or you post it in the chat, or you email it, or you just hold it in your consciousness, to me, it doesn't really make a whole lot of a difference. And yet for some people, they really, really, really like to know that they've made a healing request, and I have seen it and am including their healing request in this session. And I totally get that, and I want to honor and respect that. So, yeah. I don't see any questions in the chat, and I'm going to go ahead and get ready and segue into the group energy healing session. And then it'll probably be 5 minutes or so. Again, on your end, simply relax, allow, receive as much as humanly possible. And if you're driving or something, wait and, you can certainly receive it now, but keep your eyes open, keep your eyes on the road, and drive, right? Don't multitask would be my request. But use common sense. If you're sitting in a hot tub, sitting in a swimming pool, probably not the best environment to experience this, although could be, right? I'm just concerned with safety, so use common sense. If you're in a place that's not safe to close your eyes, please don't. So one thing I do want to mention is that, at least according to the teaching from A Course in Miracles, there is no order of difficulty when it comes to miracles. And the way I explain that teaching is, it's interesting because there's a video that's been on our production schedule that kind of got sidetracked because of all this COVID-19 stuff. But it really is centers around, in reality, we don't need source energy medicine, because there's an aspect of us that is source energy, right? There is an aspect of us that is divine, and that is the aspect of me that heals myself. That is the aspect of you that heals yourself. That is the aspect of you that is in each of us, that connects us globally in terms of global human consciousness, connects us to source energy. And yet, without source energy medicine, I'm highly confident that I'd still likely be, I don't even want to think about what my life would be like without source energy medicine. But, so it is this, on one hand, we don't need source energy medicine because we are source energy medicine. And yet, the way the subconscious mind is functioning in most of us, we have massive resistance to being able to access that ability to be able to be self-balancing, self-healing, and self-correcting. And that's the way I see source energy medicine, and that is the gift. That's the blessing within source energy medicine. It takes us from this off-course, very, very similar to the story of the prodigal son, back to our rightful place, right back to our home, right back to the way that the source of all creation intended us to have this life experience, rather than the fouled up human version that's way off course and spiraling into Lord knows what, right? So it's, on one hand, we don't need source energy medicine, and on the other hand, it is very, very, very supportive if you do not have a way of being able to self-balance, self-heal, and self-correct already. If you do, then we need to talk, because you figured out a way of being able to transform the subconscious mind, transform your energy level outside of source energy medicine, and I don't know a way of being able to do that. So I think it's pretty cool to, to think about. On one hand, we don't need it because we have that natural ability, and yet that natural ability in most of us is dormant because of this massive subconscious resistance. So on that note, I invite you to take a nice deep breath and relax, and simply allow yourself to receive as much as possible. I encourage you to see yourself the way the source of all creation sees you. And I believe that is as innocent, whole, perfect, complete, eternal, precious. I invite you to continue to breathe comfortably, continue to allow, continue to receive. gentle pressure of the clothes against your skin. Take another nice deep breath and continue to allow, continue to receive. And if your eyes are closed, please go ahead and slowly blink your eyes open and come back to this time-space reality here and now, live with me on YouTube, live or in replay. And whether you're watching this live or in replay, I'd love to see how this lands for you, see what the experience was like for you. So you can leave comments in the chat, both live and in replay. I do my best to reply to as many comments as possible, and if you have questions and you're watching this in replay, I do my best to answer as many questions as possible that come in from the replays. So I have a couple of announcements that I want to share with you because this COVID-19 thing seems like it's going to be part of our ongoing lives for probably some time to come. I'm continuing to leave the registration open for our special master class. It is all about emergency preparedness, extends way beyond pandemics or way beyond COVID-19. And the material that you'll learn in that masterclass will serve you beautifully for the rest of your life. We do have scholarship funds available for both the masterclass as well as our online classes. I know there are still a lot of people who have been out of work for a significant amount of time, so we do have scholarship funds available. We can defer payments for 30 or 60 days or break up the payments. Whatever it takes to enable you to join us, right? I'm fully committed to having everything that we offer be open and accessible to everyone, and I never want to let temporary lack of financial resources or financial well-being get in the way from you learning about source energy medicine. So, and if you are in a position to be able to make a contribution to our scholarship fund, I would be so very grateful. We've had the scholarship fund for many years, and never before have we had more requests for scholarship funds. So I'm not going to do an official fundraising campaign for our scholarship fund. It doesn't feel right to do that now. So for the most part, I am funding the scholarship fund myself, and there definitely are a handful of very generous people in our community who continue to contribute to our scholarship fund on a regular basis, not just when we're fundraising. And if you go to our main website, source-energy-medicine.com, there is a link for the scholarship fund. And if you would like to be the recipient of a scholarship fund, just send us an email and let us know what it is that you're interested in registering for, and what your request is. And Milo or I will follow up and make sure that you have everything that you need. You have the support that you need, and whatever we have to do on our end to be able to have you join us. So just want to double check for questions. I wanted to mention this, and it's funny because before COVID-19, SEM Mondays was 11 minutes, and it was very intentional because most folks are super busy these days, and 11 minutes is hopefully something that everyone can fit into your busy schedule to be able to get the answers to your questions in a very efficient, timely manner on a consistent basis. So we went from the 11 minutes to, we don't have a time frame these days. I do have an appointment that I will be late for if I don't get off of here quickly. But I want to mention this because I don't get questions about it, but it comes up in a lot of conversations that I'm having with a lot of my friends. And it's primarily, it's interesting. It's because it's both with friends who are able to work from home, which most of my friends are, and the working from home is a lot harder, right? They're working actually more hours, and it's more challenging. It's more logistically, there's a lot more to it. And then my friends who are not able to work from home, I think, are having an equally hard time with this, and it is really all a matter of structuring my day, if you will. And one of my mentors and teachers, Marie Forleo, interviewed Robin Sharma, I think probably about a month ago on Marie TV. Marie has a, gosh, if you don't know Marie Forleo, she is such an amazingly valuable resource. Her main product is known as B School, but she has Marie TV is a weekly. She does interviews, and some of them are now podcasts. But a couple of weeks ago on Marie TV, she interviewed Robin Sharma, and Robin Sharma, Sharma, is the author of numerous books. Recent one is titled The 5 a.m. Club, and if you search on Google or search on YouTube for Marie Forleo and Robin Sharma, that interview will come up, and it's in depth. It's really good. I think it's excellent, and I listened to the audio because it's a whole lot more than just waking up at 5 a.m. It is literally a beautiful way of being able to structure one's day, but there definitely is something to waking up every single day, even on Sundays, at 5 a.m. and having a lot of built-in infrastructure, especially to the first few hours of the day, which are all centered around my health and well-being, right? Taking care of me before I go running off. And it's been phenomenally helpful because my already busy schedule, which is usually 70 or 80 hours a week, has gone, I don't think I've had less than 100-hour work week, and I don't remember how many weeks. So you might think, working all that at a time, how could you get up at 5 a.m.? And the interesting thing is, I'm not working more. I'm actually sleeping more now than I was before, but my time, and I thought I was pretty good at time management. I thought I was really good at chunking time and doing a lot of things I learned from Tony Robbins and a lot of other smart people that teach us how to make the most of our days, right? Usually for people who are looking to help people, right? Looking to show up in service to others. So I mention this because it just keeps coming up in conversation, and it might be helpful to you. The audio book, I think both the book and the audio book are interesting in that Robin attempts to teach us stuff that could be otherwise boring in a fictional tale. So it's an interesting story. Robin is a fascinating man, and I'm really grateful to Marie for sharing that with us, and the timing of that. You know, I had massive resistance to it already because I was pretty exhausted to begin with, and now the thought of waking up at 5 a.m. Just didn't thrill me. But I eased myself into it, and now I've been getting up at 5 a.m. for the last, I think, 3 or 4 weeks, and following the whole outline for the most part that Robin lays out in the book. So I'm not promoting it. I'm not plugging it. I don't make a penny from it if you buy it or listen to it or do it. I just thought it was a really beautiful, valuable resource. The interview with Marie Forleo is intriguing, and if you watch that, I think you'd likely wanna purchase the book, audio or the hardcover, and give it a go. There too, I think it's an interesting thing to think about in this time that we're all in. But I gotta tell you, it's been so helpful. And again, the ironic thing is I'm sleeping more. Not only sleeping more, but I'm getting so much more done in my days. So I am super grateful for the time that we had to share together today. Thank you and bless you for your questions, for your willingness to explore healing yourself in a safe, natural, universally applicable way. Thank you for being open to receiving the blessings and the energy work. And I see some kind comments in the chat. And if you're watching this in replay, that's super helpful for me to see your feedback. Let me know how this lands for you. And I think it's worth repeating that there is definitely benefit to re-watching at least the energy healing part of this, re-experiencing it. If it were me, if I wasn't me, that's what I'm trying to say. If I was a viewer of me, I would, it would likely be something that I would pay attention to once or twice a day, right? That I would carve out some time before or after my meditation and experience that, Again, the worst thing that can happen is nothing, and the best thing that can happen is, from my perspective, nothing short of what would be characterized as a massive blessing or a miracle. And according to Course in Miracles, miracles are our birthright. And when I'm not receiving a miracle, it's because I'm blocking it in some way, which ties back to my original comment about, on one hand, we don't need source energy medicine, and on the other hand, without source energy medicine, I would still have massive resistance to being able to be self-balancing, self-healing, and self-correcting, in spite of having very strong conscious desire and being actively engaged in healing for many, many, many years before source energy medicine. So my friends, as always, I wish you continued blessings on your journey with source energy medicine. Continue to leave comments, like this video if it was helpful, if you were thinking of someone as you were watching this. YouTube makes it really, really easy for you to be able to share this video. And, if you really think about it, source energy medicine is free. All of the essentials to source energy medicine is free. So sharing this with your friends, you're not, sharing something that then they have to invest $10,000 into to benefit from. So I do indeed wish you continued blessings on your journey with source energy medicine. God willing, I will see you back here next Monday for another installment of SEM Mondays Live. Bye for now.